Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. Many years ago, may asawa siya doon. Pumunta dito yung buang, nag-asawa ulit, yung lola ko. And we became the first Kabataang MAKABAYAN. Lumaki kasi kami mixed. Davao City does not belong to any particular tribe. It is not the Visayans, it is not the Tagalogs, but a mix. Sabi, my mother is a half Maranao, half Chinese.
Ambassador Reynaldo O. Arcilia, Dean of the College of International Relations, will now introduce our commencement speaker.
I don't know why I have to introduce him, given the reception that you guys gave him. But when our esteemed president, I will do away with greeting the very important people on days, because I know you are all eager, as I am, to listen to our distinguished commencement speaker. When our esteemed president asked me to introduce our commencement speaker, my first reaction was, wow, swerte ko naman. You see, this is not the first time I'm introducing our commencement speaker. As you may recall, last year I also introduced him during the 64th foundation anniversary of our school. And so I will not go through his biodata at this time, as customary. But the fact is, the whole country knows him already. And perhaps more importantly, what he stands for. But there is one fact that I would like to mention. He is a distinguished and outstanding alumnus of our beloved university. And so, ladies and gentlemen, and especially to our VIPs today, the graduates, His Excellency, His Honor, Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Kindly sit down. I'm late. I'm always late, actually, nowadays. I went to Novaliches to arrange a rally there with the leaders, the Moro people here, and I thought that it would take me a lifetime to reach this place, so I radioed for help at the chapter in one of the buildings. The chapter landed, and sabi ko, hindi ako talaga abot. And I told him, papatayin talaga ako ng mga laurel. Ba't pag hindi ako dumating dito? Well, I am your schoolmate. Early on, I had the choice of La Salle, Ateneo, and the other schools, but I choose to enroll in the Lyceum. You know why? Hinahabol ko yung mga the plus point of our generation. Nandoon kasi yung mga Lava Brothers, nandoon yung Season, and teaching also was si David Lapos. I guess I was really out for something. You know, I became a radical because I come from Lyceum. Would you believe it? The subject that Maria Season was teaching us was political thought. And that's why he contaminated us early on, and we became the first Kabataang MAKABAYAN. Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. You know, until now, if I make it, God willing, to the presidency, I will be the first left president in this country. And that's the reason why I raise my fist, because I am a member of Bayan. Bayan has always been my political party, but I am not a member of the Communist Party of the Philippines. I do not agree. They're too far left. I do not agree with the armed struggle and the killing of Filipinos. Magpatayan lang tayo kanya-kanyang ating bayan. But I am really a socialist. One, because we have experienced hardship in our lives. Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen.
非常高兴及希望中国国家主席习近平、中国驻菲律宾
In 1948, my father decided to migrate to Mindanao in Davao City, and it was still a frontier land. It was a long and winding road of sacrifice. I remember vividly, in 1954, my father built a house in a wetland just at the back of the Ateneo de Davao. And you know what? Even at that time, no one would ever think that the wetlands were already in the hands or the title named after so many owners. But most of them were from Luzon, particularly in Manila. And it is not their fault, actually, for the simple reason that, you know, at that time, the Bureau of Lands and whoever was taking care of the Department of Mindanao, that was the governing entity noon. And wala namang communications. Probably there was a dearth of information coming in from the Manila government. And so most of the lands were given to we are opening up Mindanao for the taking. Baka gusto mo. Ang lolo ko, Chinese from Xiamen. So almost all taga rito. Hindi naman pumunta sa Visayas. Wala namang cellphone noon. And even the mails took them about a week to reach our place. So, not their fault. But that is how it was. And I grew up with a paradigm very limited sa aking environment. I grew up in a squatters area. Hindi naman sa lahat ng panahon. We improved our lot as the years went by. But ako, naranasan ko talaga yung kahirapan. So that is why naglaki ako ng ganun ang paningin ko. I could not have developed a mindset different from what I have now because sa formative years ko, doon ako sa squatters. Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. And I learned the gutter language. And the idioms that I use are really reflective of just an improvement of what I learned sa aming neighborhood. That is why I can talk in pagka sulti ko sa Ilonggo, ara Ilonggong re, damo sa Ilonggo And that is why this new generation, sumunod namin, they talk in and out Visayan, Tagalog. If you are not a Davaoeña or Davaoeño, you'd never understand the new generation. Alam nila mag-connect ng, no, they can say Tagalog in the first few lines, but continue with the Visayan. Mawawala ka. And that is the evolving dialect there in the southern part of our country. Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. Mix kami, and we can talk in, di kahambal ko sang Iloilo, daw believe sila sa ako na, di Duterte na di Puga na, Ilonggo mga kanina Ay ako, wala akong partido, but I choose PDP. Because PDP is actually left-leaning. As a matter of fact, the PDP guys take their oath of office with the left hand and shake with the left hand. Ganon ang ano ni Pimentel. Pimentel is parang ganon rin, but not so. Kami yung sumunod mga radical. But you know, I have been mayor of Davao City for the last 23 years. I started with Bayan. And I did well. For the reason that I was elected, I said, in 1988, and it's now 2016, and I'm still the mayor of Davao City. Wala ka man nakita. Ang pagka-sosyalista ko dito lang yan. Left of center something. But I'm not really a hardcore anti-government. But I am a staunch critic of government. The abuses of government and the ineptness of government, and the government does not really care for the people. Alam mo, I take the posture of a radical. Sinasadya ko talaga yung bunga. I'm testing the elite. Because in this country, if you would notice, historically, there are about only few guys, the billionaires here in Manila, the Imperial Manila, to choose the president for us. Kasi, namimili, and those elected really take care of the elite. Ito namang nasa gobyerno, they have to steal. They have to make money to sustain their partisan group in a society. And those elected really take care of the elite. Kaya ganun, kung bakit magtanong, bakit ba dito? Sa Pilipinas, patayan. In other nations, some vote, some don't, and no big deal. That is the reason why. Because we have kept our country in eternal poverty.
It's no longer safe to serve in the government. Dahil sa kasakiman, sa greediness, the loss of power of those who wield power, ay nabago. Kaya pag pumasok ka sa gobyerno ngayon, siguraduhin mo na nakaready ka na yung isang paa mo parang pulis, paglabas mo sa bahay, ay nakabaw na. Ganun no, ganun ngayon kapanganib ang ikaw ay pumasok sa gobyerno at ang iyong layunin lamang ang magsilbi. Sapagkat marami sa magiging kasama mo sa gobyerno, hindi yon ang gusto. At pag ikaw ay naging sagabal sa kasakiman nila, sa kapangyarihan, at pagnakaw ng kayamanan ng bayan na ikaw nagiging sagabal, ay talagang ikaw ay isang banta, magiging panganib ka. Kaya kung papasok ko kayo, ihanda nyo na ang iyong mga sarili.
Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. Yung basta yung gusto kanila, gusto ka pag ayaw ka, and if you are not a member of the ruling elite, stay out. So that is why sabi ko, gusto ninyo. Oh, they will hear. But if I become president, I'd be prim and proper. Maliliman lang yan. And this elite, they want to chart the history of our country in their eyes, in their mind. In their eyes. In their mind. And this elite,
Way back before the colonization period, the Chinese traders established their connection with the Filipinos through trade.
Based on our historical records and even archaeological evidence, our relationship with China started as early as the 9th century, during the Song Dynasty, when Chinese merchants would be traveling to the Philippines in large groups. Their goal was not only to come to the Philippines, but also to the rest of Southeast Asia, because they follow a certain pattern of the year, when the winds would be blowing them all the way down to the south. And so this is when the Chinese merchants would be bringing goods based on our record and what has been seen archaeologically, from porcelain wares, food stuff, of course, even the introduction of spices from China were introduced to the so-called traveling merchants who went around the Philippines and Southeast Asia. And even during the arrival of the Spanish, the Chinese were already there. They were already in Manila. They were already doing business, and this is one of the things that Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, the Spanish adelantado who entered Manila Bay and later on founded the first city, the city of Manila. They were not actually the first ones who had, or the first foreigners to have entered Manila Bay, but actually it was the Chinese.
The Spanish went to the Philippines not just to do business. not just to look for glory, but they are here because of a mission to Christianize the world. San Lorenzo Ruiz was a Chinese mestizo and the first Filipino saint. And later on, Mother Ignacia del Espiritu Santo, the founder of the first all-Filipina religious congregation for women, known as the Religious of the Virgin Mary, was still existing up to now. They played an important role in the history of the Catholic Church in the Philippines. And also, there is a very strong connection between the native Filipinos and the Chinese. The Chinese Fu lions found in some Catholic churches in the Philippines were the mark of the Chinese artisans who built them, like the one found in the San Agustin Church in Intramuros, Manila.
When we talk about the guerrilla movement in the Philippines, we should not negate the fact that our Filipino-Chinese brethren, mestizos or of pure Chinese who consider the Philippines their country, the Watch Out Regiment was composed of what you might call Chinese migrants born in the Philippines, some mestizos, some of pure Chinese blood, who actually already veterans of the war in China against the Japanese. Why was there a separate Chinese regiment? Okay? Why did they not join other guerrilla movements? Well, definitely, the reason for that is because they wanted to make a contribution as a Filipino-Chinese community fighting the Japanese.
The relations of Chinese and Filipinos were formalized during the time of President Marcos in 1975 through a joint communique. This established the diplomatic relations between China and the Philippines at the ambassadorial level.
The 1975 communique signed in Beijing in June 9, both countries agreed to promoting traditional friendship between the Chinese and the Filipino people. Each government to recognize the independence of the other government in terms of economic, politics, and its social system. But at that time, in 1975, many countries were shifting towards a one China policy. With that particular visit of President Marcos, it also meant changes in the Chinese community or the Filipino-Chinese community in the Philippines. President Marcos did something very, very important, and that is he granted citizenship to the Chinese who have been living in the Philippines for generations, and he offered them the opportunity to become Filipinos.
Aside from the communique, the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, or FFCCCII, stepped forward for greater relations of Philippines and China this present time.
The Federation together
菲律宾济阳科菜中心总会中北吕宋分会于2018年9日的率领下，丹陆省各社团代表一同至本会5楼宗祠，举行秋季大典及新届理事会职员就职典礼，并于中午12时在雷斯塔亚锦诺纪念中心举行庆典仪式。
Ipinaliwanag ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos kung bakit binisita nina Josh at Bimby Aquino si First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos.
I think it was Chris Aquino who needed some assistance. It was just to help them. What the reports did not say is that Lisa is their aunt. Dahil ang kanyang auntie ay napangasawa si Don Pepe na the eldest brother of Cory.
Si Don Pepe o Pedro Cojuangco ay napangasawa ni Rosario o Sari Cacho Cojuangco, na kapatid ng ina ni First Lady Liza na si Milagros Cacho Araneta. Kilala magkalaban sa politika ang biyanan ng First Lady na si dating Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Sr. at lolo ni na Josh at Bimby na si dating Senador Ninoy Aquino. Sinagot din ng Pangulo kung ano na ang estado ng relasyon ng kanyang pamilya at ng pamilya Aquino.
Well, we've always been okay. We just don't agree politically.
And this elite, they want to chart the history of our country. In their eyes. In their mind. They want to chart. Gusto ninyo gawain na lang ninyo kaming province, Fujian, pati Philippine province of China. Di wala tayong problema.
Who do you think is most dangerous for the country?
Duterte.
Why is that?
Right now, he is most trusted man, Pastor Kibuloy of Davao City, has already announced that if the elections don't turn out Duterte, he is going to personally lead a revolution. What kind of talk is that? That is almost seditious. And this is from a man of the cloth. So, masyadong malalim itong Duterte na ito. Hindi kamukha noon na akala natin straight shooting lang siya na mayor at hindi siya nagkakapera. What about the plundered charge filed against him by Julianes? We don't have any acceptable reason for all those accusations against him.
Now, you've called him as in a way close to the NPA, Senator Grace Poe, close to the CIA. I'm curious, if his closeness with the NPA brings us into peace talks or to resolve the issue with the NPA, wouldn't that be good for the country?
Only for the CIA or including the
NPA first, for the country. Because peace talks have bogged down with the NPA. If that works with Duterte's ties to the NPA, will that help?
I don't think so. You cannot tie communism, which is an ideology, down to words on paper. Nobody's going to pay any attention to those words. They will act on the basis of their own ideology, which is that government is bad. And always, government should, as much as possible, be given directly to the citizenry. Ibang pananaw nila sa ating demokrasya.
Buhay ang NPA!
Mabuhay!
Buhay ang NPA!
Mabuhay!
Duterte has already been announced, if accurately, by the Inc. as their official candidate. But he is also accepted as the official candidate of the NPA. So we have an NPA.
Yung iba naman pumapalag. Pag sinabi ng mga politiko, dito tayo ha? Opo, congressman. O dito tayo. Opo. Dito tayo ngayon. Yes, sir. Bahala ka, sir. Why? Because we are fundamentally a feudal country. Kaya mainit. Why is it that there's so much killing during political exercises? Why do you think people kill the guys on the other side? Now, I'm testing really the waters radicalism. As if I am irreverent, but it's not really true. I pray to God always. Baka patayin ako itong dalawan to, mga gago. For safety, sinasadya ko yan. Lalo na yung inanala. Because in this country, yung mga probinsyano, hindi ko naman, I'm not trying to equate myself with you or identify myself with you, but they want it prim and proper. They control the media, they control television and all. And they want to do governance in accordance with their interest. That's how it is. Noon pa ganun talaga ang tell me why. And if you listen very carefully, you'd understand. In 1521, the first colonizers, the imperialists, landed in Leyte. Went down Magellan, planted the flag of the Kingdom of Spain, and proclaimed, I would call all these islands in the name of the King of Spain. So it will be known as the Philippines, to honor King Philip. Tapos sabi niya, I will now bring into this island the fate of Christianity. Well, I do not have any quarrel with religions. For after all, it moves down to our values in life. Ang problema, when he went around, he was using gunpowder, which for the first time was very alien to the natives, yung mga tatay natin. And so when they first heard of the explosions, talagang everybody was shaking because this guy who is white has a weapon that can really kill us from a distance. And even the muskets, the rifle of the times. Pakapatay ka ng tao na malayo. So the natives were really no match. Yung mga lolo natin. And one day, they found ourselves, our fathers, looking, may mga puti, nag-a-announce na kanila ito and we have to pay our due and respect to the kingdom of Spain. And they sat there for 400 years. And they enjoyed the fat of the land. And there was this war between the Spaniards and the Americans. And Admiral Dewey, in whose name Dewey Bolivar is named, smashed the Spanish Armada dyan sa Manila Bay. And so by the Treaty of Paris, ending that war, the Philippines was ceded to the Americans as if we were chattels, the population. Masakit yan. So we had the Americans. And again, they took advantage of the land, 50 years. Enjoyed again the fat of the land. We were colonized, and the Spaniards and the Americans created the troubles of our country. It was because of imperialism. Because they went as far as Mindanao to look for new territories. Mindanao was not really a part of the original lands taken by the Spaniards. Kasi if at all, a few Muslims here, Moro, and some, our forefathers never had that religion that prays to God before. Sometimes we do it in front of the cross. Ay, ang ating mga minuno, wala man silang santo. Santo Paulo, St. James, Santo Rodrigo, wala yun. So little by little, they learn about Christianity. I don't have nothing against religion. Religion is also values. Sometimes we forget. Ang problema nito is just like the Middle East, which was carved out from the chart of the Americans, the British, and the French. Look out what happened to colonialism. They're paying for it.